when I'm like 30, 35, and these legs ain't working like they, you know, like they should, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be behind the camera. Let me.
The greatest test that anything could withstand is time.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it time. It'll reveal itself.
Yeah, man.
Creative advice that I would give: write down all your fears, your flaws, your insecurities, the guilt, the pressures. Look at them on a list. Know they're all distractions. Once you do that, you will experience your life uninterrupted. That is the most important thing that you can do for your creativity, is to eliminate all the distractions, period.
It did take a lot of hard work. It took 24 hours being in the studio. It took my girl being mad at me. It took me not being around my kids like I want to be. It took me doing interview after interview. It took me doing phoners. It took me doing drops for different DJs. It took me to go to the club, throwing got a $250,000, just blowing it. Just trying to, every time I go in the club, making that impression, making sure everybody on the music and doing it for a cause. You got a hot song, you give whatever for it, you know what I'm saying? So really, I went and spent my money, my own money out of my pocket. Every time I go into the club, it took a lot to get that 20. I did a bunch of songs. I did over 300 songs. I dropped over 10 mixtapes last year. I put out over 100 records, just I gave away.
Longevity, the term that is used to describe anything that stands the test of time. See, everybody's always talking about, I want a hit song, I'm trying to go viral, I want to be lit. But understand that substance always beats hype. Foundation always beats fads. There seem to be some artists who just always seem to find a way to stay ahead of trends, effortlessly eating a game where so many go hungry. They have this almost superpower of being able to always stand the test of time. The art of longevity, you could call it. And there's normally two ways the artist can go about staying, not just for a good time, but also a long one. They're very simple, yet often overlooked principles that anyone, including you, can and needs to apply for a long, healthy career. With that, let me explain the art of longevity. The date was March 26, 2024, and Future and Metro dropped a collab album titled We Do Not Trust You. An album that was widely recognized for its song Like That, which is known for being the official first punch thrown in the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef.
Sneak this in first person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. I crash out. I still got PTSD. Motherfucker, big 3. It's just big me.
It ended up going platinum, won an award at the BET Awards, and will go down as one of the most iconic diss songs of all time. While this song is mainly what the album will be remembered for, there is something beneath the surface that people don't realize that this album represented. As I said earlier, this album was a collab between Future and Metro, and this album symbolized Future as one of the longest standing consistent mainstream rappers ever. How many artists do you know have been in the game for 20 plus years, 40 plus years old, and are still consistently either dropping or featuring on some of the hottest albums or songs that year? You can probably count on your hand how many. Future has found a way for the past 2 decades to stay not only relevant, but also respected. A lot of people in their careers become conscious of father time and their careers declining, so they tend to lean towards a more goofier brand or becoming completely gentrified and commercial friendly, which is fine, I guess. But it's hard to do what you want to do and maintain your original audience, especially a black urban type artist, while you're trying to be commercial friendly and stay appealable to the white masses. But here we are, Future at 40 years old, with the exact same toxic bars in all his songs. Like literally, this was his opening lines on the Like That diss.
Sticking to the code, all these for the street. I put it in her nose, it's gonna make up the city. All my strong, nigga, all my
Like, Future, you're old enough to have grandkids. What the fuck is that, my nigga? But you know why this works? And after all these years, Future is still here despite so many coming up the same time as him being gone? It's because Future is extremely consistent. Future recognizes what his brand is, who he is making music for, and what they want to hear.
Nah, I can't stop doing music. I don't know how I feel. I've been going to the studio every day. I've been going to the studio like every day straight for like 10 years. Even if I have a show, I still do some music. So I find a way to record it, and I just don't know how to not record.
When you think of Future, the same as I said in my Pepsi analogy in my previous video, is very obvious and constant. Future represents masculinity, respect, admiration, and desirability. He basically has all the things that any man between the ages of 15 to like 35 wants. This is why his music is still the same in delivery and lyrics after all these years.
I woke up in a new Bugatti. That's for all the niggas. I'm about to fuck this cash up on a new toy. Taking pain pills on the plane, getting charged. Percocet, Miley Percocet. Bitch got a cum stain on my Gucci. We say it's up, then it's up. 100,000 for the cheapest ring on a nigga finger, little bitch. I'ma say I love it. Tell her it ain't Cassie. Puffin' on Zooters and she calling me daddy. Like a kilo dropped inside the pot, my nigga spinning. Hey.
Future not only understands his brand, but more importantly, he trusts himself. Future doesn't overthink or doubt if people still love him.
Comments and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't worry about them. Like, my son out there, I'm a father at the end of the day. I just love music. I'm passionate about music, but the way people look at me is just the way they look at me. They don't understand. They don't know what's behind the comments, and just whatever you think about me, just keep thinking and just keep supporting me or whatever, good or bad. I just want to make sure I'm just prepared for everything. I don't know, like, I don't worry about it, nothing. Like, I'm in my own. You gotta have tunnel vision, and there's so many trials and tribulations you're gonna go through. You know what I'm saying? If you keep focusing on the negative or focusing on anything that's not part of your vision, it's gonna throw you off.
If he's too old to make raps, or whether he needs extreme wordplay.
I can sit down and write my verses and try to come up with some. Them dudes be taking months on their verses. Everything you done heard me, I did it in 30 minutes or less. Everything what the world heard me, anything they ever hear from me is done just our pure raw talent, my vibe, my feel, my real feelings.
Future has always just been Future. He naturally resides in a flow state that allows him to transcend limitations and even time that so many artists end up tripping over and ending their careers.
I like New Bugatti because I made it in 30 seconds. I remember making that so quick.
Was that the quickest song that you did, New Bugatti? Was that like record time for you?
I did so many records quick, it didn't take long. If it's a hit, it come right away.
You said 30 seconds though.
So that's the first way, being consistent with a product to a certain demographic, aka sticking to your roots. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I hope y'all caught what I said towards the end, because without that, everything I just said don't even matter. I said Future doesn't count himself out. He doesn't tell himself, I'm getting too old to rap, or this is played out. What if people don't like this no more? He doesn't limit himself. So he is always in a state of being good enough, so that mindset helps attract ideas and opportunities that make sure that is the reality he sees. On the exact opposite side of being consistent and sticking to a set brand, there is a more water-like approach, where an artist constantly reforms and shapes who they are, not to match a certain brand or aesthetic, but more to match whatever the situation calls for. Constantly flowing with whatever. Kind of like that Bruce Lee quote.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
An artist that is a constant reminder to me to always reinvent myself and not put myself in a box is Pharrell. Now, for all of you who don't know, Pharrell is a 52-year-old producer from Virginia Beach who grew up with the likes of The Clips, Timbaland, and Missy Elliott. A great way to identify him is the little 4 dun 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 at the beginning of all his songs that he's produced. And just so you can somewhat get an idea of how popular he is and how hands-on he has been in the past couple of decades, in the mid-2000s all the way up to the late 2010s, you couldn't go a single day without hearing a song on the radio that Pharrell didn't produce.
It might seem crazy what I'm. This rainy days. Everybody get up. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Oh, it's my life,
And funny enough, all these years later, Pharrell has still had his hands on some of the best projects to come out. He produced Let God Sort Him Out by The Clips. He also produced the trendy hit Timeless with The Weeknd and Playboi Carti.
I just did a record for The Weeknd and Playboy Cardi.
And as you can hear throughout all the hits that Pharrell produced, while they all do have that Pharrell sauce to them, they all sound very distinct and unique in their own regard, all from different eras and ages of Pharrell. And this is all due to Pharrell being able to rise to whatever the situation calls for or needs. Whether you're a 50-year-old Clips or a 23-year-old Lil Uzi Vert, he is so free and flowing that there are no blocks in his art.
I don't care who you are, if you're 8 years old or 80 years old, it's never too late. It's never too late. Don't listen to these people who want to put you in a box, pun intended. Don't listen to them. Be you.
The reason why artists lose touch or can no longer produce electrifying art that once resonated with people is not due to them getting old. It's because they start doubting oneself and become tricked by the world of the illusions, which is the physical, and they start to tell themselves that they are no longer capable. And if you've been following my channel, then you know that whatever you feed yourself is what you become. And they decide to feed themselves with doubts, negativity, and things that don't serve them. So, as you know, they become that. But I say all this to say, notice how although these two people I mentioned have two completely different audiences and ways of execution, they have a very similar mindset when it comes to approaching the craft. Neither of them thinks they're too old. Neither of them feels like they will run out of ideas or things to say. Neither listens to people online calling them unk or saying give it up. Notice how they only listen to their internal voice, the voice of God, that same voice of God that is within all of us. They listen to that and it guides them through the ups and downs and allows them to always make it on the other side and ultimately elevate. So the key to longevity is not one specific game plan. It's not trying to keep up with an audience or a trend. It's in always believing in oneself no matter what the outside world thinks, no matter what the time period is, no matter what negative thoughts may come. Trust in God, trust in yourself, live to the end, and allow God to reveal the path to you, because that's the art of longevity. Virgo, I appreciate the love so much. Thank you as always. I'll see y'all in the next one. Love.
God's little bitch. Right, drop the beat.